The village of Ndimu had found peace, or so they thought. For weeks, the people spoke of the night the betrayed one was set free. They praised Oba and Ayo, calling them heroes. The baobab stood silent, its whispers gone. The air felt lighter, and the once cursed land flourished. Crops grew taller, the river flowed clearer, and the nights were no longer filled with eerie murmurs. But Oba couldn't shake the feeling that something was still wrong. At night, he dreamed of the baobab, but instead of whispers, he heard footsteps, heavy, deliberate, something walking beneath the tree. Then, the scratching started. It began 3 nights after the curse was lifted. A soft, scraping noise, like nails dragging against wood. Oba sat up in his mat, his heart pounding. "Ayo, wake up," he whispered. Ayo groaned. "Oba, not again." "Listen." They held their breath. Scratch, scratch, scratch. Ayo bolted upright. "That's coming from under the floor." They leapt to their feet. The sound stopped. The hut was silent, but the air was thick with something unseen. "Maybe it's a rat?" Ayo whispered. Oba shook his head. "No rat sounds like that." The next morning, Oba went to see Baba Tunde. The old man listened quietly as Oba described the dreams, the footsteps, the scratching. Baba Tunde's face darkened. The curse has ended, but the past never truly stays buried. Oba's stomach twisted. What does that mean? The old man sighed. You freed the betrayed one, but what if he wasn't the only one buried there? Oba's blood ran cold. You mean there are more? Baba Tunde looked at the baobab, his eyes filled with a deep, ancient fear. Some spirits whisper for justice, he said. Others whisper for revenge. That night, the scratching returned, louder, closer. Then, just before dawn, something knocked from beneath the floor. Once, twice, then a voice, muffled, raspy, hungry. "Let me out." Oba's heart slammed against his ribs. Ayo gripped his arm so tightly it hurt. "Did you hear that?" Ayo whispered, his voice shaking. Oba nodded. His throat was dry. Something is under the floor. The knocking came again, stronger. "Let me out." The voice was hoarse, filled with something dark, something unnatural. Oba's hands trembled. His mind raced. The baobab's curse had ended, hadn't it? The betrayed one was gone. So, who was this? Ayo took a shaky step back. We need to get Baba Tunde." Oba didn't argue. They sprinted through the dark village, their feet barely touching the ground. When they reached Baba Tunde's hut, they banged on the door. The old man answered with tired eyes, but when Oba told him about the knocking, his face turned pale. "You must not answer it," he said immediately. Oba swallowed. "But what if?" "No." Baba Tunde's voice was firm. "The dead must not be disturbed." "But it's already disturbed." Ayo cried. "It's knocking. It's talking." Baba Tunde grabbed a staff and motioned for them to follow. They hurried back to Oba's hut, the village still quiet in the early morning darkness. But when they arrived, the knocking had stopped. The hut was silent. Oba hesitated at the entrance, his skin crawling. He knew something was inside, watching, waiting. Baba Tunde whispered a prayer under his breath. "I feared this would happen," he muttered. Oba turned to him, confused. Feared what? The old man's grip on his staff tightened. The betrayed one was not the only soul trapped beneath the baobab. He was the most powerful, but others were buried too. And not all of them were innocent. Ayo's eyes widened. "You mean this could be someone dangerous?" Baba Tunde nodded gravely. "Someone who was never meant to be set free." Oba's stomach clenched. "Then what do we do?" The old man took a deep breath. "We seal it. We make sure whatever is under there stays under there." He stepped forward and began drawing symbols on the hut's floor with white chalk. He murmured words in a language Oba didn't understand. Ayo stood frozen, his eyes darting around as if expecting something to leap out. Then, a low, guttural growl echoed from beneath the hut. The floorboards shuddered. Oba gasped, stepping back. Baba, it's waking up. Baba Tunde's chants grew louder. He sprinkled a handful of crushed herbs onto the ground. The air turned thick, heavy, suffocating. Then, the knocking turned into pounding. Thud, thud, thud. Let me out. The voice wasn't human anymore. It was deeper, twisted, like many voices speaking at once. The floor cracked. A blackened hand shot out from the wood. Oba screamed. Ayo grabbed him. We had to get out. But Baba Tunde didn't move. He raised the staff and slammed it down. Go back, he commanded. You will not rise. The air exploded. A gust of wind howled through the hut, knocking Oba and Ayo to the ground. The symbols on the floor glowed. The blackened hand twitched, its long fingers clawing at the air. Then, with a horrible screech, the hand burned away. The hut shook violently one last time. Then silence. The air settled. The whispers were gone. Baba Tunde wiped his forehead, breathing heavily. It is done. Oba slowly got to his feet, his legs weak. What was that? The old man looked at the smoldering cracks in the floor. A shade, a spirit so filled with hatred. It became something worse. If it had escaped, it would have destroyed us all. Ayo shuddered. But is it gone? Baba Tunde's face was grim. For now. Oba looked at the burnt remains of the floor. The cursed earth had swallowed so many secrets. But one thing was clear. Some things were never meant to be unearthed, and some spirits should never be set free. The baobab stood tall outside, its roots stretching deep. Beneath it, the past still slept, waiting, watching, and one day, someone else might dig too deep. But Oba prayed he would never live to see that day.
If you enjoyed this very video, please kindly like, subscribe to encourage us because we're bringing you more African folktales. See you next week Friday. Like, subscribe and turn on the notification bell so that you don't miss our next video. For now, watch this video till we come your way again.